Hey, this is Vincent.
And Valerie
Woodard. Hey, this is date night, or date day. We're going to do it earlier today because, we don't want to be out there with a crazy crowd at nighttime. But anyway, you can do it either or, whatever way works for you and your schedule. Me and my wife, we're just going to do it today. In the daytime, it's a little warm, but we're going to one of my favorite restaurants.
Yes, it's in Raleigh. It's called Perry's. If you haven't tried it, you should. We don't go often because it's a little indulgent for me. I'm trying to keep my figure together. No pressure from him. That's my thing. But yeah, we're headed out. And as my husband said, sometimes we start our date night during the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes because we have children. Sometimes we have our grandson at the house. Or sometimes we have something we have planned, we have to do, and we just want to get out. And so sometimes our date night is a DAYTE night. It starts during the day.
Yeah.
And it could last throughout the day. It could last into the night.
So, hey, come hang out with us. And maybe you can see these big pork chops. I'm going to bless you. I'm going to bless you. Come on.
Let's go. So, babe.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why it's important to you that we have date night?
Well, before when we first started, I would say, get away from the kids. But it's not like my kids are bad or nothing like that. It's just a night just to get in bed or get out and be free. Just kind of try some new things. Sometimes we're so stuck in this cycle of wake up, go to work, come home, make dinner, and do the same thing all over again. But I look forward to actually looking at new places to eat, kind of planning where we're going to eat at, but not so much planning the whole day, because I like this, just whatever comes up.
Right.
I like that. But before, it was like just to get out the house and try something new. Now, this is going to sound bad, now I just like spending quality time with you. And that doesn't mean that all the time we spend together is not quality time, but we're really focused on just hanging out together. Not just so much, we're just eating dinner at the same time or watching TV at the same time. We're really focused on spending time together. And I look forward to that. You're my best friend.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. One more question.
Oh, okay.
One more question for you. We used to talk about what we were going to do for date night before, and you always asked me where I wanted to go, and I couldn't always make my mind about where I wanted to go. And it got to a point where you just started to plan things, and at first it wasn't like that, and I love it. Can you tell me what changed your mind about making the initiative to plan our date nights?
Okay, well, my wife and men, I think a lot of y'all can relate. My wife seems to never know what she wants to eat. It's
true. I know what I don't want to eat.
It's an ongoing thing. Sorry about the camera shaking, but we're on this highway taking this curve. But my wife never seems to know what she wants to eat. So imagine just going through that every time we get ready to plan. I'm trying to find a restaurant and so on and so forth. But see, I know my wife. Like she said, she knows what she doesn't like to eat. So I keep that in mind. And I find places where I just have options. That's my job. My job is to present options. And I say, hey, babe, I want to try this new restaurant right here. This menu looks like something we might want to try it. I show it, I might show it to her, I might not. But I think I know her well enough to not take it to a restaurant where she be like, why you bring me here?
Oh my gosh.
So
that's so funny.
That's kind of why. Whoa, okay.
A little swerving in traffic. Okay, so I want to say this about date night. Date night is not just about eating. It's usually night and it includes dinner time, so we do eat. But sometimes date night might include lunch or breakfast or dinner. It depends, because it just depends on what our plans are. But one of the most favorite dates we had, our DAYTE, was one day we just came We went about 45 minutes out. Where we're going today, to Raleigh, I think it was. And we did something called dream walking.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my favorite dates, where we did go and eat, but we went around and we looked at the things that we desire for our lives in the future. Like, we just put a picture to it. We looked at homes in the type of neighborhood we would like to live in. We looked at the type of car we would like to drive. And that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. And it's a good way to build up your vision board,
Yeah.
you know, and kind of see where you want to focus on, you know, your energies to going forward in the future.
Right.
You know, it's really good to have a goal, just a common goal of where you both striving towards. Why are we working every day? Why are we getting up? Why are we saving money? Why are we doing all the things that we're doing? You know, what's the end goal? You know?
Right.
And like my wife said, just taking dream walks. I recommend that. And you know, just spending time with one another. Don't be so structured, I believe, to plan every little thing, because if something's going to happen, then it's going to throw your plan off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of have the pouting face. You're like, well, this is not how I planned it. Well,
Nothing is always going to be
allow some room, you know, to be able to explore.
Yeah, and I want to say this also. We didn't then, and we don't now, have the resources to do everything we want to do. And so date night does not always have to be expensive restaurant, dressing up. Sometimes we've had date night. Our 20th anniversary was spent in the bed.
Yeah.
Because I had a terrible migraine and I couldn't stand the light. So it was spent in the bed with me wearing sunglasses, but he was by my side. Our daughter made us breakfast, and we watched movies and we played games and we talked about the future and we took a nap and all those things right there in the house. But it was a special day for us. When COVID came in 2020, it was supposed to be this was our 21st anniversary, I'm sorry, but our 20th anniversary when COVID came, we had planned to take a trip. And we hadn't, you know, ordered tickets and all that because it came soon enough, like in March, that we didn't have to cancel anything. But we just decided we're going to have a night at home, and we were going to do something outside with the movie screen and all those things, but it rained. So instead, we popped up the movie screen in the bedroom. We ordered from one of our favorite restaurants. My daughter and my grandson were at home. But it's like we had our own little oasis.
Yeah, that's
our
the
daughter
first
went
time.
out to get our food.
That's the first time I saw Hamilton.
Oh gosh,
Love it.
he loves Hamilton.
Guys, don't sleep on.
It was really good.
I love it. I can
Educational and
see. You want me to say
entertaining.
something? You want me? No, never mind.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't always have to be planned around money, you know, or things that cost money. You can have a picnic right in the middle of your living room floor if you want to do that. You go outside in your yard and do things. The dream walking is a good thing to do, but we are adamant about keeping our dates.
Yeah, and like my wife said, you know, keep it. I mean, we like to save money. We don't like to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, we're not frivolous.
And I am not going to go to. One of the reasons why we're going to this restaurant right now in the daytime is because the lunch special
is twice the price.
less the price, half the price, I guess. You know, so and I love the pork chops, I love the food, and it's half price. Why not? Okay, it doesn't have to be a nighttime. I'm going to spend
And then
double.
there's no crowd.
Yeah, so those are the things that you have to be like, okay, well, we want to spend time together. And if it's going to break your bank and have you, you know, enjoying maybe 2 hours of your time, but the rest of the week you're trying to, you know, catch up. Nah, it's not. Find something that, you know, it works for you, your spouse, and your budget. You know, we have game boards at the house. You know, we have this marble game board, what's called Mancala, that we play sometimes. I still don't know all the rules.
Sometimes I beat him.
Yeah, I still don't know all the rules.
We play Uno by candlelight.
Oh, we got it. Yeah,
that was fun.
Make it work. Make it work
for you.
But I'll make a decision to spend time together.
Yeah.
And not just we watch TV together every night. You know, do something, plan something to do something together, and I guarantee you guys it'll bless your life.
Yeah. And date nights used to be, honey, you remember when date night was always like dinner and a movie?
Yeah.
Well, we decided to make it more versatile because watching a movie, we were sitting together staring at the screen for 2 hours, which is okay if that's a part of date night, but I wanted to make sure that we were interactive.
Yeah.
And to answer the question that I asked you, babe, the reason that date nights are so important to me is because we get to spend time with just one another.
Yeah.
We get to spend intentional quality time talking to, looking at one another, into one another, planning things together, finding out, what's on our minds, what's the next step, building our friendship. We still get to do that by going on date nights. We have fun. There's a lot of laughing going on when we go on date nights because I feel...
She be cutting up, yeah.
Listen, I'm not the only one. I won't deny I'm a little bit of a cut up, but he is too. And we have a ball, and one of the things that we do is we come up with whatever conversations people are having at other tables, or we pretend what's going on. We're not trying to listen, but we kind of take a character. You take him, I take her. What do you think he's saying?
Yeah.
How do you think they met?
Or sometimes we'll see a couple in the restaurant and they're just sitting there and he's on his phone or he's reading his newspaper and she might be on her phone or just looking out the window, and we're just like
they're just chewing and looking in a different direction. It's like, what is going on over there?
What is going on? Yeah. She took me to this restaurant. She know I don't like pork chops. She did this out of spite.
Pork chops. Obviously, he likes pork chops, y'all. I don't really make them at home, but he's about to get one today. That's funny, but that, when we first started dating, we went out and we observed that. And we said we never want to be that couple that doesn't have anything to say to each other. Now, every moment doesn't have to be filled with conversation. And sometimes people are in a moment of, dealing with something, and they have to, they go out to get something to eat while they're dealing with something. Like they might have a loved one in the hospital. So we don't always know that whatever state we see them in is the state that they operated in all the time. But what I do know is this: if you don't date your spouse and you're raising children and you're going through life, when everybody leaves the house and you're not used to talking to them, you're not used to spending the time with them, then you kind of have to get to know them all over again.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say, you don't date your spouse, someone else will. I didn't know where you was going.
I mean, that's true too. It depends on where your spouse is in their walk. I mean, we're a Christian family and we believe that, and it's not that Christians don't cheat, because sometimes they do. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that they shouldn't. Okay? Because I'm saying nobody should, because of the damage that it does to someone else. Anytime somebody comes in between the relationship, someone has allowed that person access to that relationship. And we love to spend time together getting to know each other, because that's what builds us, that's what strengthens and fortifies our relationship. I'm not needy and clingy, and he's not needy or clingy. We like to spend time together. We enjoy that.
Yeah.
I don't mind spending time with other couples, with other people. We like to do, couples date nights too. We did that more before the pandemic came, but we don't mind spending time with others, but we really enjoy spending time with one another.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the conversations we get in with same-sex friends or, associates, and we hear how they relate to their spouse or their mate, it's like, wow, they don't like each other.
Some don't.
Yeah.
It's just not everybody.
Yeah, it's not everybody, but sometimes you find out some people don't enjoy spending time together. And I think it's because they haven't really invested enough time in one another.
It's about same sex, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, let me clarify. Like if I'm having a conversation with some ladies that I know.
Okay, all right.
And you're having a conversation with some guys that you know. And you mentioned date night. Oh no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
It's anniversary, Mother's Day, that's it. You know, other than that, no, we're gonna just cook and eat at the house. It doesn't become. It's not a habit.
Well, you know, you can still do date night, date day at the house.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, plan it, make time to spend time with one another, and to be focused on one another. It's not just okay. The kids around me, I'm cutting grass, you in the garden, but we're spending time with one another. That's not what I mean by this. I mean by just, you know what, guys? You remember when you first started dating your girlfriend at the time? She might be your wife now, but you remember looking forward to just spending time. It wasn't so much we're going to go to the movies, we're going to go to the carnival or the fair. It wasn't these big things. Our goal was just to get into their space, you know, get into their presence, and just hang out. And whatever happens, you might just go to the water tower and just sit up on there and talk all night, or just go somewhere, come back and drive in the driveway and just open the car door 1 foot out, and y'all just talking about life and just dreams.
We did that a lot. We did.
You know, it's that's what I'm talking about. To get into their presence, you know, and just be, you know, listen to what their heart has to say. And when you do that, that's where the magic happens, I believe. That's where that spark, you will find that spark if it's lost, or you will keep kindling that flame, you know, if it's still there. So find a way to, you know, just get into, you know, their minds, their heart, listen to them. You know, I used to love to hear my wife talk because she's a talker, but I still do love to hear her talk because she has a great way of expressing her feelings. And so much so, I mean, I've learned how to express my feelings, I think, through you more. Yeah, because I'm thinking, okay, well, I know how I feel, you know, but she doesn't know how I feel, and I don't know how to express that. But listening to her kind of shows me, you know, how to be able to just say what's on your heart, and she doesn't judge me if I say something that's crazy, you know, like I don't like spaghetti without meat, you know. she doesn't judge me.
That's not really spaghetti. That's just noodle sauce.
That's just noodle sauce.
Not my business. He doesn't have to like spaghetti with me. He does, by the way. But he likes it now with turkey instead of ground beef, which is good. Okay. Sidetracks.
Lord.
Yeah, but dating makes it still feels special. Makes it still feel new. It still feels fresh. Like we've been together 24 years in total, married for 21, and I am still getting to know him. I love him more now. And I know that's cliche-ish, but it's true. I love him more now because I learned how to love him. Not for who he was for me, but for who he is. You know, sometimes we only love the things about a person that make us feel loved or special. But I learned that my husband wasn't raised the way I was raised. My husband doesn't think the way that I think. And I was raised as an only child. I'm not an only child, but I was raised as an only child. And so his growing up was very different than mine. And so we had to learn one another. The ways that we could perceive as, oh, she's selfish, or he's selfish, or she's, you know, whatever. But fine, you get to find out why your spouse is the way they are. And if you allow them to communicate to you, then it may give them an opportunity to see, oh wow, I do things differently. And I wonder why I do it that way. Oh, that's another way of doing it? I never knew that. They may adapt that way and they may not. But you don't know that until you get to know them. And sometimes when we get into relationships, I talked about in one of our other videos how difficult it is in those first several years when you're getting to know your spouse, you know, to get past all those differences. But we look at those differences as concrete walls and obstacles when it's not really meant to be that. It's a point of learning. you know, and you come together as one and you find out how to work out things in a way that works for the both of you.
Right.
Not just for you, because that is selfish.
That's
You can't just
true.
do it my way. Even if my way is perceivably right, there are different ways to do the right thing, you know? And so I had to learn that. My husband is a kinder, gentler person than I am.
She's kind.
I am kind.
Yes.
I am kind. But if you come for me, I'll be like, hold on, wait a minute. Who are you
That's
talking
true.
to?
That's true.
Let's talk. Excuse me. What did you say? You know, he's not as quick to do that as I am. He's more patient than I am in some ways. And so I was able to learn that. He doesn't get worked up about things the way that I sometimes do. I'm a very emotional person. Like, I emote. I like to talk about my feelings. And when I say emotional, it doesn't mean irrational, because sometimes women are labeled as emotionally unstable or irrational, because sometimes we cry and we want to, you know, express our feelings. Some of us, not everyone's that way, but it's not a bad thing if that's how I communicate. But he's calmer. He will assess the situation where I may sometimes see a problem and be like, oh my gosh, all right, now I have to deal with this. It's not necessarily a problem for him. So I've learned from him how to just sit back a minute, do a little more assessment, and then, you know, I can keep my calm.
Yeah.
You know, like my friend says, stay in my place of calm and peace.
Stay in your place of calm and peace. I like that.
Yeah.
I believe that a lot of that comes by just being in each other's presence. Like I said before, you know, like I know my wife, I know what I think she might not like, but I also know what I think she might like. And that's just not food, but that's just life, you know. And the more I, you know, hang around you, the more we're together, I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly recording in my mind, you know, those things that I know, hey, when that happened, she didn't really care for that too much, you know. I said this joke and, you know, it wasn't funny to her, you know. I thought it was smart, you know, but she was like, so you record those things and I can adjust now, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to learn how to, you know, recalibrate a relationship, you know. Because what you thought would work, you know, okay, we've been together 24 years, like you said, in total, 21 married. But that doesn't mean that, okay, well, we've done this before when we got married, you didn't have a problem with it. Well, hey, look, it's 21 years later.
Yeah, things change, people change.
Yeah.
I mean, things that I knew 21 years ago don't necessarily work right now. So, you know, we have to adjust. And I want to make it clear, my husband is very open and communicative in a way he wasn't when we first got together. And it's the greatest gift I could have ever gotten, you know, in a spouse, because I'm big on communication. I want to talk about things. I want to make things clear.
Let's talk about it now.
Yeah, let's talk about it now. And sometimes I gotta wait, because sometimes it's not always good to talk right now, you know. But I want to make it clear that he is not henpecked. He is not whipped. He doesn't kowtow to me. He doesn't have to, you know, he doesn't have to wait on me hand and foot. A little bit. But I am too.
Did it too.
Yeah. He's it for me and I'm it for him. And we're happy about that. But part of the reason why it's so exciting is because we've taken down our guard and we've decided, I'm going to let this person love me. I'm going to let them love me for who I am.
Wow, let them love you.
Yeah, you got to let people love you. Love is not forced.
That's a whole other video right there. Write that down.
Let me love you.
Wow.
Yeah. That was the problem when I said, when we went through counseling, and I was like, I don't feel like I have all of him. I feel like he loves me, but I feel like I don't have all of him. And that, it was true. I needed to love every part of him, and there was a part of him that was closed off to me. And we had to get to the point where he felt comfortable revealing those parts of himself to me. You know, it was nothing negative that he had done. It's just sometimes life happens to you and it causes you to kind of go in in a way, emotionally. And that's what happened with him. And when he was able to relate that to me, we were able to talk about things on a different level, and he was able to understand I can trust her. I can trust her with my emotions.
Yes.
I can trust her with my pain. I can trust her with my faults. I can trust her with my shortcomings. And she doesn't think any less of me for that, because I don't. You know, I really don't. And yeah, but he doesn't have to, you know, wait on me hand and foot. So this is not about men learning how to do everything their wives want them to do. He does what he does because he loves me. I do what I do because I love him. Yeah.
Thank you.
Pause for cause.
It's all good.
Can we sit in the booth if that's okay? Is it all right?
If you'll follow me back up to the host stand, I need to see my server.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that's good. Looking mirror right there.
What else can I bring for the table?
I think you done it. I appreciate that. Yeah, even got a camera. Thank you. Say cheese, baby.
Cheese and pork chops.
And pork chop.